Impact Wrestling held their Rebellion pay-per-view last week. Of course, we talked about it. The AEW World Champion Kenny Omega showed up and he won the Impact World Championship from Rich Swann in the main event. And we were wondering, what were the numbers for this pay-per-view going to look like? Did it move business? Did Impact's business get better? Was there an impact, for lack of a better term, on TNA's revenue and from this pay-per-view? And we found out the answer to that. So we found out this, even though TV purchases were smaller than streaming ones, which are expected these days. They got about 9,000 pay-per-view buys on traditional mediums, which for Impact is pretty good. One streaming provider on Rebellion says it was 7 times higher. The buy rate was 7 times higher than the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, which aired earlier this year, and 9 times higher than Bound for Glory 2020. And in fact, with Rebellion having done such strong numbers, it confirms that this is the biggest boom period for for Impact Wrestling's pay-per-view market since they got their Spike TV deal taken away from them. And this is their second biggest pay-per-view number since 2014. So this is a big deal for Impact Wrestling. This is a huge deal for them. Trevor, what do you make of this? What do we think about Impact doing these great numbers? Can they keep it up potentially?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but I think the biggest draw was Kenny Omega and Maru. That was pretty much what most people watched for. That's what I watched it for. Don't get me wrong, they had great matches. Jordan Grace put on a hell of a match along with tag team partner. They had great matches that night. But can they build from this? And I think again it goes down to, do you have matches that everyone wants to see every pay per view? Since Kenny Omega is a champion, you're probably going to see him pretty frequently. So that might help. And you still have the Good Brothers who are in Kenny's stable. So you have money coming in. You just got to make the match watch. And honestly, do we really want to see Kenny Omega fight Sami Callihan?
I was going to talk about that. Yeah. Look, I like Sami Callihan. I know people are weird about him. I like him. I think his whole deranged crazy guy gimmick is actually pretty good. I like the stuff they did with OVE.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I do think you're right. I think for Impact, this isn't they should not be an expectation for this number to be the new normal. I think what this is, though, what this might show is, we know that Kenny Omega did draw for Impact, which is a big deal. And the thing is, are they able to take advantage of that pay-per-view? That going into Rebellion, that was the big thing. They had to make an impact. Again, I'm sorry for the impact puns. It's just a great word. But they had to do something on that pay-per-view to make a new audience, to draw people into their product. They're watching for Kenny Omega. He's in the last match. He's in the main event. So what's even more important than the main event, because Omega is going to have a great match. What's more important than the main event is what you do leading up to it. What stars do you build up? Who shows up? What storylines can you invest people in? And I think they did a decent job of that. I think the W. Morrissey, the Big Cass thing was really good. Bringing him in, I think that made a little bit of an improvement for them. There's other matches that were great on there, I think. So they did a decent job of trying to build, I think, a new audience. The issue is, though, what is and the question going forward is, what is the ceiling? How much is it actually long term going to improve business? How many people are going to consistently be keeping up with Impact? I think Omega is going to help because he's still showing up, like you said, on Impact Wrestling. Right. And I think that's always going to help them. But they're also just going to be at a disadvantage because of the TV deal they have. So I think this 9 times better than Bound for Glory. It's great. I hope they do that. I hope they do better than that moving forward. But reality is that Impact is likely going to do slightly better than they were doing before, and hopefully that's enough for them to make the pay-per-views profitable. Because I know that was a huge concern. because you have to sell a certain amount of pay-per-views for it to be profitable to do in the first place. Uh, and they weren't doing that for a long time, and I think this is like one of the big ones that they were able to do. So hopefully they get to a point where they're consistently at least profitable and they're breaking above even. And I think that's kind of the goal at this point, and then slowly building off of that because they have a base now. They have a base to build off of. It's all about taking advantage of it. So Scott D'Amore and companies got their work cut out for them.
And I think part of that, just piggybacking off what you're saying, I think part of that is going to help in the long run because if you have a product that's building a bigger base and constantly getting better numbers, you're going to attract more talent. More people are going to want to come, And so, and to me, at this point, that's also just as important is getting people to still watch. Because I mean, a lot of your talent is older. A lot of your talent is, they don't work well with others, which is why they're at Impact Wrestling. But I think the big thing is to get better talent over there, and you can't do that with low fan rating.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.